Welcome to the Pursuers of Peak Performance podcast, the podcast for PTs and fitness business owners to produce more. The pursuit of peak performance is an ongoing process to produce next level results in every aspect. The purpose of this podcast is to share the processes and procedures that peak performers use to produce more. My name is Cody McAuliffe and I'm the founder of the Pursuers of Peak Performance podcast. I see the proverbial bar of the standards within the fitness industry is way too low. My purpose and my passion is to raise that bar so that the fitness industry can live up to its potential. Let's get into the episode. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for the second part of the interview with Ben Carvosso. We talk about some amazing concepts and distinctions again, the power of rituals, state management versus state awareness, understanding what the fitness industry really provides for people and selling based on that comparative to just selling personal training sessions. We talk about the difference between pulling and pushing in life and how discipline gives us freedom. And one of the most amazing distinctions that I had was when we're thinking about producing things or producing energy or producing productivity, whatever it is, the analogy that he gave was a power plant. We need to see ourselves as a power plant. A power plant doesn't have energy. It produces energy. So we can then produce anything that we want in life. We can produce more. We can get more out of life. This was an absolutely amazing distinction that I had from Ben. So here we go, part 2 of the interview with Ben Carvosso. In terms of, I guess, advice that you'd give to people, like if you were to go back in terms of optimizing your mindset, if you were to go back to when you first started, when you first had that first chiropractic practice, like what advice would you give to yourself with everything that you know now to be able to help them, I guess, get to a point that they want to get to so much faster?
I'm not sure I have a great answer for you for that. These are some of the thoughts that come to mind. We're all on a different journey. And part of that different journey means that we travel at different speeds. So for some of us, it's right to build our business over 5 years. Some it's right that we having to build it over a year. Some of us take 10 years because it's not just the end result, but it's who we became on the journey. And if you could do it in just 1 year, I wonder what you miss out on for the person that might have done it in 3 years, right? I think also that there are different stages. You know, my brother bought me a beehive for my birthday a couple of months ago. Jim's right into bees, and I got a beehive. It's the coolest thing ever. About 3 weeks ago, we harvested like 4 jars of honey. I mean, it was so cool, right? It was over on the weekend though, and we lifted the hive and we took all the racks out to check to see how the bees were all going. And he was explaining to me the different types of bees that are within a beehive. Because when a bee first hatches, it becomes what they call a nurse bee. Its job is just to keep cleaning the hive, make sure it's nice and clean. And then after a period of weeks, it transitions into some other kind of bee role, and then another bee role and another bee role until eventually it dies. I think that transitioning that we go through, whether it's in business or whether it's in a relationship, is kind of part of the journey. And to kind of embrace that and be just good with that you're on that journey, that it doesn't necessarily need to be rushed. And that the learnings I had when I first started out in practice were perfect as compared to the learnings 5 years later, as compared to the learnings 5 years later. And my practice evolved over that time. I recently just did a 40-week accelerator course. And I said to the guys in the course, I said, what's next? They said, well, we kind of don't really have anything. I said, well, why don't I just do the course again? I said, again? I said, yeah, because the guy that I was when I started the course 40 weeks ago is a different guy. So there's actually a different guy going through the same 40-week course. I said, don't reinvent the course. Don't change it. Because I'm a different guy going through the course. And I wonder whether that's the same in business, that as we evolve through business, we are a different person every year and we get new distinctions and new learnings. And I wouldn't be the coach I am now with the years of experience if maybe I had rushed it and managed to do it in a year.
Yeah.
I know it's maybe not quite the answer you wanted, but
that's the perfect answer, because most people want what would you tell yourself? But the reality of the situation is you said it perfectly. You're perfectly where you are for that point in time to be able to move forward. And if you were to change something, you wouldn't have the same process. And even when you get to the end of, say, a 40-week accelerator program, you're in a completely different position to be able to take on the information, to be able to apply it to a different point in your life. Even it's exactly the same with books. When you read a book the first time, you get a certain thing from it. You go back and read that book a year later, 2 years, 3 years later, it's like someone's rewritten the entire book because you take so much out of it, because you've become a completely different person. You see every single thing differently. And it highlights to me whenever I talk to people who are pursuing peak performance, that is the answer that they give when every single person who is trying to get the hack, get the little thing that's going to make them move to the next level, that's not necessarily what they really need. It's just what they think that they want to be able to get them to be able to move forward. So that answer is exactly what I would recommend people think about in terms of the process, because as soon as they go, all right, if I would go back, they're instantly judging their journey rather than accepting their journey, being appreciative of their journey, so that then they can utilize those lessons to be able to dramatically move forward rather than focusing on that past and those things that are holding them back. Do you find that as well?
100%. That's where the glance in the revision mirror is. You glance and you go, yeah, that was a good learning. As I continue to move forward, I'm going to do that differently this time. But without having done the thing, you don't get the learning. If you go through the journey of the year and you repeat the year the same, that sucks, right? But if you get to the end of the year and reflect and you go, well, I'd do that differently and I'd do that the same and I'd do that the same, but I'd probably turn the dial up a little bit on that thing there and I'd shift that over there. And then you start the next year with those distinctions, those insights. That makes the next year a better year. There's more growth. We're either green and growing or we're ripe and rotting. And there's so many people that just keep repeating the same year, saying the world sucks, the government sucks, my parents suck, the church sucks, because they're doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Mate, I'm going to tell you, I'm loving this conversation.
Good, me too. Very much on the same page.
How cool is it to hang out with people that are like-minded, that have the same conversation, that have the same language, right? Man, we just got to do so much more of that. Find people, find our tribe. And you know, one of the things I say to my clients is, as you grow, as you develop, there'll be times when it's time to leave the tribe and move to the next tribe. And that's quite okay. It doesn't mean you love the other tribe any less. It just means that it's time to move on to another tribe. And it's that sometimes that's where there's a bit of a crisis that occurs in people's lives when they are trying to hang on to the old but move into the new. You know, the word crisis comes from the word Greek to sieve out. Sometimes in life we've got to sieve out some of our friends, some of our peers, so as we can move on to the next thing. Yeah. So, man, I'm loving this conversation.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that as well. It's very much when they have that moment, they're very much in that kind of like identity crisis, because they identify with those people and they have for so long. But for them to be able to move to the next level, they need to start to associate with other people. They need to create that new identity of that person to be able to, I guess, pull themselves forward as well. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. In terms of that, I guess, you're not necessarily within the fitness industry, but you have an outside perspective. What do you think in terms of people in the fitness industry could potentially do to be able to, I guess, expand their potential much more? And what are the limitations that you see of the fitness industry?
Wow, there's lots to talk about there. I would say one of the most important things is state management. Just know that when you're doing PT, you need to manage your state for your client. So important. You know, clients come to see PTs for more than just big muscles. You know, they're coming to connect. They're coming to be inspired. You know, one of the things for PTs, I think you need to be attractive. And I just don't mean physical looks. You need to be attractive in your person. Yep. Not just so you attract clients and have big practices, that so people want to hang around with you so that you can influence them. As a personal trainer, your job is to influence clients, influence their health, influence their mindset. State management is one of the most important things I think that PTs could do in their business. Yep. State management with your clients, and state management when you've got to do the books, and state management when you've got to get your marketing campaign organised. Manage your state.
Yeah.
But importantly for your clients.
Yeah. One of the things that I've heard recently in terms of that is just a reframe in terms of the language, because if we start to see the need to manage our state, then we can start to judge our state when it is not necessarily aligned with where we want to be. So the reframe that I heard was, it's very much about state awareness. So we can become aware of our state. Is that state aligned with where we want to go to be able to help people? Because then it just starts to remove that judgment on those times where our state isn't aligned with the outcomes we're looking at achieving, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's within our business, whether it's with our clients. So just getting to that level of state awareness so that we can then remove the potential judgment from that situation, so that we can then dramatically move forward. Because as soon as we get pulled into judgment, then we get into guilt or shame around that, and then that holds us back. Because if you look at people like Tony Robbins, he's all about like, all right, let's manage our state. Let's use our state to be able to move to the next level, which is good. Yes, we can alter our state. But if we then instantly get into the guilt cycle of, oh, my state wasn't where it needed to be, then we can instantly create a negative frame of reference around that judgment. So if we can then remove that potential and create that state awareness of where we are, and then aligning our state, then it drags, so it pulls us forward rather than us trying to push our state in different directions. Do you find that as well?
Absolutely. State, character, personality, ethos, driven by plans, driven by purpose. One of the most important things I think too for PTs to get is, mate, you guys are saving lives. Like, you're truly saving lives. You know, we live in one of the sickest countries on the planet, Australia. We are wealthy, we have plenty of land, we have fresh air, we have all the food that we could ever want, and we are one of the sickest countries on the planet. And the healthcare system is not a healthcare system. It is a sick care system. It is an ambulance care system. We send the ambulance when the guy has the heart attack. We patch him up and send him back out there to get the next heart attack. PTs are at the forefront of creating health in our community. Like, I've just got to think about it for a second. They're like at the pointy end. I can't think of anyone else. Like, they have such an opportunity to shift people's mindset, to shift their physical bodies, and to shift their chemical bodies towards true health. PTs are saving lives. Now, that's my interpretation. Some of them haven't connected with that. And if that's not a connection for them, all good too, right? But you're not there to build big muscles. You're there to save lives. Get connected with that as a purpose. That will drive your state every day. It's driving my state because I've just spat all over my computer screen. Like, seriously. You know, I remember years ago, my mate, we had a bit of a joke, and he said, mate, what are you doing today? I said, I'm going to save lives. This is my chiropractic practice. And I thought about it. I went, I do. You know, we in my practice anyway, we don't deal with sickness. We move people towards health. After the first consult's done, we never talk about their sickness and illness again. We always talk about performance and health. And so that was probably 15, 20 years ago. And I talk to this mate regularly, and every time he goes, what are you doing today, man? Saving lives? I go, of course I am. Imagine if PTs got truly connected with that. You know, the impact they're having on the planet. And they are at the pointy end of making that impact. Wow, you turn up to work in a different state. Yeah, you make some bigger plans. Yeah, I don't know how it went on a bit of a bloody get off a box there for a second.
No, it's good. I love the passion. And I think it's very much the same for me as well. That's like one of the the purposes of this podcast is just to raise the standards within the fitness industry so that more people can start to see that. The majority of people in the fitness industry see themselves as personal trainers. They see themselves as selling personal training. I had a coaching call before this as well, and I was asking her, what is it that you sell? And she's like, oh, well, I sell this. And I'm like, is that the reality? Or are you selling things like a feeling of them feeling good, their confidence? And is that leading them to a longer life? Is that leading them to anything that they want in their life? So it's just very much, I guess, creating that awareness of the reality of what people are really doing within the fitness industry and anything that people do to create that purpose around things that they're just not observing that they do. Because if their identity is, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a chiropractor, I'm a whatever, if that's their identity, then that has a cap. Whereas if they see themselves as, I'm someone who saves lives, I'm someone who makes people feel more confident, then we instantly create much more of an impact in ourselves. We're actually much more motivated to what we're doing because we have that purpose of what we're doing it. And the best example is the story of this guy putting bricks together.
Sorry, man.
You're right. Putting bricks together, and he's like, this guy goes to him, hey, so what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just building this wall. And he moves along to the next guy and he says, oh, I'm building a cathedral. Yeah. And that's the power of your purpose. That's the difference between someone saying, all right, I'm a bricklayer, to someone, I'm having an impact on the world. I'm changing people's lives. I'm saving people's lives. And I think as stated by you all the way through this, it all starts with that purpose. If you're not seeing that in exactly what you do, then it's very much just about trying to push yourself around everywhere rather than being pulled by that purpose to, I guess, have that impact on the world. Do you find that as well?
100%. Well, again, I do a lot of purpose work with clients, and one of the two things that always come up in purpose is for them to be better people and to leave the world a better place. Yeah, and Tony Robbins' work with the 6 core needs, right? Certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, and connection. The needs of the personality. The needs of the spirit, Tony talks about, of growth and contribution. Personal growth, make you better, and contribution, make the world a better place. If you can get out of bed, mate, you leap out of bed. You wake up before the alarm clock when you are going to save lives. Yeah? But I can tell you, it's got to be hard work if the alarm clock goes off and you think, man, I've got to go and help that guy get some bigger muscles. Do you know, truly connect with the work that you do, and it becomes bigger. The conversations with your clients become bigger. The value becomes bigger. You see, people will only pay for a problem that is bigger than the price that they've got to pay. The problem we have in this country is horrific. 1 in 3 heart disease, 1 in 3 cancer. 1 in 9 women, I used to own a breast screen clinic, 1 in 9 women in Australia get breast cancer. This is out of control. I was reading the paper on the weekend, higher levels of obesity, higher levels of breast cancer, right? You've got to get clients to get totally attached to how big this problem is. Then you can offer a solution, but the solution can never be bigger than the problem. Yeah. For you, your own solution to solving whatever's going on in your life can never be bigger than the problem. But for your clients, get them totally connected. And the only way you can do that is if you truly own it and you are connected with it. Get them connected with how big this thing is, how important their personal training is. Then you can sell them a solution that's big.
Yeah, 100%
agree. They need it. They need you to be honest. They need you to be inspired. They need you to be connected with it. They need it. You are doing your clients a disservice if you sell them a small solution for something that is truly a big problem. Oh man, come every couple of weeks for a PT and let's just see how you go. Stop doing that.
Yeah. Literally, before the coaching call before this, I was writing a blog post on people who are selling things that are just short term and they're not providing the solution that people's need. So it's especially in the fitness industry, it's all right, let's sell them a 21-day challenge or something. Well, yeah, that's a good kickstart. But if we don't have the focus of it's 21 days to the rest of your life, then you're setting them up to fail. If you're seeing a a personal trainer and you're not exercising, you want to see them once every 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're not going to create that habit that's going to be the change that's going to get everything that you want, which is ultimately what you're doing. And it creates the frame of reference for people like, all right, I'll just choose what I think I should do to be able to get the result rather than what is actually going to get me the result, whether it's like extra accountability, whether it's training with someone a few times a week, whatever it is. People make decisions based on, I guess, the dollars rather than the result that they're going to get. If they start to frame it as, all right, this is what it's going to cost rather than this is what my investment is going to be in myself, in my health, all of these things, we created a completely different frame of reference because ultimately that person is worth it. Their health is worth it. Their relationships with other people are worth it. Like the benefits of doing exercise, it's just like there's a huge long list. All the things that you covered, you didn't even touch on like depression is another major one. If you're obese, you're more likely of having depression. If you've got any other disease, you're more likely of getting depression. Then there's just general population people who are overworked, who aren't living their purpose, which links into depression as well. And that links into everything, and they're all interrelated. And exercise, training, nutrition, all of these things, mindset can be potential solutions for all of these things. And personal trainers, coaches, they're on the front line of this to be able to create that change in Australia and throughout the world as well. So it has that potential. And one of the things that I see is a lot of personal trainers view what they do as they're getting the fit people fitter, because ultimately the majority of people who are marketed in the fitness industry are people who are already exercising, rather than engulfing the other people that are outside that circle and getting those people in to expand those people. A lot of people are like, I did it for quite a while. I'd work with elite people. That's all well and good to be able to take them to the next level, but it's not really having that big impact on the world. It's only having impact on those individuals. And that was one of the big changes that I had to make in terms of my business, on focusing on what is the thing that I can do to have more of an impact on the world. And I went to a seminar in Melbourne a few weeks ago, and one of the things, the biggest thing was like, he gave out armbands that were like, what are living in obligation? And if you're living in obligation, then it's not about you. It's not about one person. It's about what impact can you have on the world. If you can live in that state, then you're going to be pulled forward in every single thing that you do, rather than focusing on what are the insecurities that I have, what are the fears that I have in terms of me growing my business or helping people or putting content out there to be able to change people's lives. If you can get to the point where you're in the state of living in obligation, then that is one of the states that can basically just transform your life to be able to take it to any point that you want.
If I can say, one of the things that came to mind when you were talking, and I just love what you're saying, and there are so many health practitioners and PTs out there that are making decisions for clients based on the thickness of the client's wallet. You know, we kind of measure their wallet and go, oh, I think they can afford 3 sessions this week by the look of their wallet. That's a lie. Stop lying to your clients. Start telling them the truth. Whether they've got thick wallets or thin wallets, you need 3 PT sessions and 2 boot camps. You need to change your diet. You need to be honest. Stop lying to your clients. But so many PTs and health practitioners are selling clients the bare minimum, hoping to keep them as a client rather than telling them the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It comes down to, I guess, the standards that you set of your clients and what they're going to live up to. If you allow them to just be working with you, say like once a week, then like the standard isn't very high. So they're not going to be able to fulfill them, I guess, in terms of the result that they're looking for. So you allowing that is, as you said, doing them a disservice, because ultimately it's not going to get them the result and you're just taking their money. And I have a thing where when I was doing like one-on-one personal training, I wouldn't allow people to do 1 session a week because I saw it as me just taking their money. You can do it in a group situation, or you can do a minimum of 2 one-on-one sessions because I know that I can get you the result. And that's what you need, rather than like, oh shit, well, if he only wants to do 1 a week, I'll just do 1 a week, because ultimately I'm taking his money. It's not in my benefit, both short and long term. So what we want to do is we want to set up our business where we're 100% focus on getting people results, setting them up for success based on our service offering so that we can then get them the results, then that's going to have a positive impact on our business by only having people who are positive about our business rather than having this group of detractors that we're starting to grow by offering these things that don't provide them the results that they want of feeling better or of saving their life or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Got to make the problem bigger. You can sell anything if the problem is big enough. But when it's just like, hey, yeah, I think I can help you get some bigger biceps, I'm not going to spend any money getting bigger biceps. But if it's for me to be able to, you know, my personal trainer talks about be useful, become useful, personal train so that you're useful in the world. You know, if someone's trapped under a car, mate, they ask you to lift it. That if you needed to chase someone down the street, you could do it. If you needed to swim out and save your kid, you could do it. Become useful. That's a big enough problem that I'm willing to spend money on. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's very much coming down to the individual and what is the feeling that they're really chasing, because the feeling that you're chasing is being useful in that case. If someone else is chasing energy with their kids, then we're selling that rather than like, all right, this is the sessions that we're going to do. We're ultimately selling them a result which is based on a feeling that they have or that they want to have in the future. If we can start to sell them on that, then we can determine, all right, this is the feeling that we want. The problem is they're not at that point. That's the problem. We're selling that solution to that point as well. So I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, cool.
In terms of, I guess, we're very much focused on mindset. Is there any, like you talked about, people sometimes ask you for meditation strategies and things like that. Is there something that you do on a daily basis that helps you pursue peak performance? Yeah.
Rituals. You know, Jocko Willink. Have you listened to Jocko stuff?
No.
Right. Big, ugly guy, Navy SEAL. He's a machine, right? He's recently written a book called Discipline is Freedom. But that was always one of his catch cries, that within discipline, we actually get more freedom. You know, people think discipline's a bad thing, that, you know, discipline's boring. No, discipline allows you to be free. So create rituals. And I talk about there's no off, you're always on.
Yeah.
A ritual is a ritual, and it's 7 days a week. So I would suggest have a ritual of what time you get up, whatever time you choose that to be, but get up at the same time every day. Have a ritual what you eat, have a ritual what you dress, have a ritual throughout the day, because it will allow you to be free. You know, you look at the greats, the Zuckerbergs, the Gateses, the Steve Jobses, you know, these guys wear the same clothing every day. They could buy anything you want. Zuckerberg, grey t-shirt and jeans, right? He's got a ritual. And it's because of the ritual, he's able then to embrace the uncertainties that come up, the big decisions. I truly believe willpower is limited. You start the morning with a full willpower battery. I know there's controversy around that out there. Some people think differently, but I believe that, like your phone, you unplug it first thing in the morning and it's full charge. Every time you use your phone, it decharges.
Yeah.
When you wake up and the alarm goes off and you go, oh, well, I get up. Should get up, but it's like I did have a late night. Oh no, I'll hit the snooze. Drain willpower battery. Alarm goes off again. I should get up. Well, why won't I? Drain. Alarm goes off. You finally get up and you walk into the wardrobe and go, what will I put on? Drain. You walk out to the kitchen. You open the fridge and you just look in, like my son does. Right, he's a teenage boy. They stand there with the fridge doors open, like waiting for miraculously to put the food together for them. You know, but people do that. They wake up and when they look in the fridge, what am I going to have for breakfast? Drain. What time will I leave for work? Drain. What path will I take? Drain. Sometimes people get to work at 9 o'clock and their willpower battery is already at 50%. Stop it. Get up at the same time, wear the same stuff, eat the same food. You get to work at 9 o'clock and you're still at 99% charge. In discipline, we get freedom. That would be one of my biggest tips, is create discipline in your life.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
It will give you the space to make the big decisions, the exciting decisions, the decisions that are the needle movers that truly impact your life and the life of the people around you. Clients want it too. They want you to be disciplined. They want you to have a ritual. But within the ritual, you can create adventure. You know, clients want that.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I find willpower is like just driving your car on fumes. It works perfectly well until there's none left. And then there's just nothing. And as you said, like the analogy of the phone as well, I use that all the time as well. Like people do things that are just consistently dropping that down. And the analogy I like to use is they're opening up consistently more apps all the way throughout the day. And that just drains the battery so much faster. So one of the things that I normally recommend is, all right, cool. How are you going to plug yourself in during the day to be able to give it a boost so that you get through the whole day? Because if you've got 10, 20, 30 apps open all day, you only get like a quarter of the way through the day and you're cooked. And it's like, all right, let's smash some coffee. Let's just use coffee to drive. And that's only just like plugging it in for a little bit. It's using something to give it a boost for a period. And then you feel worse later on. It's taking energy from later in the day. So I guess one of the strategies that I recommend is just like having a meditative practice is going to be something that you could do to plug in to be able to get more battery as well. Do you have any tips in terms of getting people to be able to recharge their battery throughout the day?
Yeah, I love what Brendo says. I love what Brendan Brashadi talks about. The power plant doesn't have energy. It generates it. Yeah, so we don't have energy. We actually generate it. So for me, it's move your body. You know, it's exercise. It's change environment. You know, personally, I get a lot of energy from impacting lives. So I've coached clients this morning. I've had this conversation with you. I can tell you right now, and it's 1:45, and I started this morning with a 6 o'clock swim. And ever since that 6 o'clock swim, I've been all on. Right now, I have got more energy than when I started the day. Like, I'm quivering with energy right now because I generate it. So impact lives, make a difference. That'll give you energy. I don't remember your days in PT, and even now in coaching, but I finish my coaching days and I am more charged up. I got home last night at 8 o'clock and I went for a run at 8 o'clock. Like, and I'd train personal training in the morning at 6. Like I got home and I was just like buzzing. I said to my wife, I just got to go for a run. Power plant doesn't have energy, it generates it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's something that I haven't thought about before, and definitely something I'm going to start to implement in terms of, I guess, coaching as well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time out of your day, I guess, to be able to share all your knowledge. It's always great to connect with people who are on the same page in terms of having that foundation of mindset, the importance of language, all of these things to be able to develop people's purpose. So it's amazing to be able to have you share your message with people. So thanks again for taking the time out of your day.
Mate, the pleasure seriously was all mine. Like, so good. Let's do this again tomorrow.
That's what it feels like. Hey, I guess that's the whole living in your purpose and sharing that message and having that impact on people as well.
Yeah, cool.
In terms of what's the best way for people to be able to get into contact with you, to be able to find out more about you?
So my website, theonbutton.com.au. I have an opportunity for people to have a Discover coaching call. There's no sale at the end of it. If you want 30 minutes to chat with me, you can click that button. It'll send you put your email and your phone number in, and I'll organise a time to give you a call. We can have a chat about whatever's going on in your life. It's a good place to start. What else? That's about it. Just go to the website. There's some stuff on there that you can download, interact with me, have a chat with me. Simple.
Yeah, awesome.
Old school. I love phones, right? You know, as you know, when it comes to people getting the message, don't remember the exact numbers, right? But 56% of it is your physiology when you're communicating. 34%, something like that, is your tonality, and only 10% is the words that you use, right?
Yeah.
So stop freaking texting. Right? If you need to send a message, send a voice message.
Yeah.
Stand up and send the message. Get people to experience the tonality. Get people to feel your physiology. That's why I did this Zoom call with you, standing up. You know, I don't want to just want to sit down and just, you know, people need to feel the message. And why am I telling you that? That's why old school.
Yeah.
You know, send me an email if you want, but put yourself down for a Discover coaching call. Let's talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Let's really get the message happening.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of old school like that. And I love the vision too. I love the fact that we do this Zoom call. I've done some podcasts before and it's just audio, but I love the fact that we've got the vision as well.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. Awesome. In terms of your book, obviously we touched on some of the topics. When is that going to be coming out and where can people get their hands on that?
Oh, so excited. So excited. So it's next year. I reckon it's going to be February. It's at the editors at the moment. Yep. She sent me a beautiful message. I'm not sure whether it's a copy and paste, right? She sends it to everyone, but she said it's going to be a winner.
Yeah.
So super excited. It's a big book. I wrote 85,000 words, which makes it a chunky one.
Yeah.
So, but it's practical. It's a book that is, you know, it's got the purpose. It's got a lot of the planning. It's got all the personality. But at the end, it asks you to take some action. Each chapter has some stuff for you to do, small stuff, but it has you actually start to move. So I'm super excited when it comes out because it's kind of almost like a book/workbook all in one. So it's not just the black Porsche. It's black Porsche and go and get a job.
Yeah.
So super excited. So about February it'll be out. It's called Life CEO. Yeah. It's how to take charge, stop doing your busy work and start doing your life's work.
Yeah. Perfect. Sounds like an amazing read. And based on the conversations that we've had today, I can see that any person that listens to this is going to get amazing value from that to be able to find out all of the details and all of the strategies around that. And then also getting that implementation phase, which is the gap that most people miss. So a lot of people are going to get some amazing value from that. So thanks again for taking the time out of your day to be able to share with us. And we'll definitely have to get you back on.
Love to. Thanks, Cody.
There we go, guys. There's today's episode. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to pursue your own peak performance by listening to this podcast. I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to give back to the podcast, the best way to be able to do this is to be able to share any of these episodes with your friends, family, or co-workers. Alternatively, you can leave us a comment or a 5-star review, as these mean the world to us. Be sure to check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/pursuers of peak performance, to join the conversation and get access to all of the episodes before they come out on the other platforms. Thanks again for listening, guys. Catch you in the next episode.